upcoming ship and vehicle loadout changes. So, we have our post here from our man John Crew, our boy, and this was posted on September 11th, so fairly recently, and we have some changes to some of the ships. So he says, as part of the ongoing development of vehicle systems, particularly with resource network and engineering gameplay on the horizon, we've taken the opportunity to look across all of our vehicles in-game and revisit some of them in terms of both default item size and quantity. Reviewing both player feedback as well as the analytics on usage and performance, it was clear some ships and vehicles were underperforming and needed adjustment. That's so funny that he points that out, because yeah, some ships are underperforming, but a lot of ships they pretty much nerfed. Some vehicles were adjusted to bring them in line with others in their class to ensure competitiveness, and some were adjusted because they were simply had a abundance of power output that wasn't necessary anymore. You may have noticed recent vehicle promotions and released have strayed away from the typical 1 to 2 power plants, coolers, shield generators, to higher numbers such as the Zeus and Retaliator having 4 to 6 shield generators, for example, and these updates will roll out similar changes across other ships and vehicles. In addition to the changes below, you can expect handling and health changes to some vehicles to make sure they do not stray too far from their intended design behavior. Okay, here's an interesting thing. The Redeemer, for the example, will get a buff in flight handling to compensate the reduced shields and weaponry. So, I mean, the Redeemer for a long time was just... when it came out, it was a truck, man. Like, there was no point in crewing a Hammerhead and trying to, you know, get 7 or 8 people to crew a ship when you could just get a 3-man crew and be way more effective on a Redeemer. And like the health output and damage, it was just crazy with the Redeemer. But so they're nerfing the Redeemer, but they're buffing how it flies to compensate for the nerfs. The following are the new default sizes and amounts for specified items types per ships, e.g. if something now says 1 size 2 power plant, that means it now only has a single size 2 power plant rather than gaining an additional size 2 on top of its current live loadout. Weapon changes are specifically listed for the relevant hardpoints. Okay. So, I'm going to pull up Urkel for you guys. So now we're going to look at the Aegis Reclaimer. So, the Aegis Reclaimer in our revised change has 1 size 4 cooler and 1 size 4 shields. Right now on live, it has 3 size... it has size 3 coolers and 3 size 3 shields. So it is getting a buff in its components. I think that's good. I think we gotta keep our I don't want to say middle class, but our hardworking citizens out there, gotta keep them safe and strong, because they're the ones, you know, supplying all the goods. So then we have the Redeemer. So now it's getting 6 size 2 shield generators, and it is getting 2 size 4 weapons on the man turrets. On live, it has only 2 size 3 shields, and the man turrets were size 5, so that's getting a nerf. We're not gonna have size 5s anymore, which is sad, because I really did like the default loadout, the AD 5B. That Gatling gun was just sweet. Or you just swap it with a Galdarine if you wanted the laser repeaters. But yeah, sadly the Redeemer's getting nerfed. So it's gonna be, we'll have to see how it handles in flight if the handling compensates for the nerf, the handling of piloting it. So now we are gonna look at the Vanguard. So the Vanguard has only one size 2 medium power plant, and the Sentinel has an additional small power plant compared to 2 size 2 power plants. So yeah, it's getting a slight nerf, you could say. And then here's the Anvil Carrack. So the Anvil Carrack is getting 2 size 3 power plants compared to 1 size 3 power plants. So the Anvil Carrack's getting a buff. I think that's good. I mean, it is a large class ship. I think it should, you know, hold its own, stand its ground. So Carrack's getting a buff. And here's an interesting one. This Anvil Gladiator is an ancient ship that no one flies. So it's getting a size 1 power plant and a size 2 power plant and a size 2 shield generator. So the components are getting buffed, and then the wing missile hardpoints are now all size 4. So compared to size 3, they're all getting bumped up to size 4, so dish out more damage. And then the wing weapon hardpoints are now both size 4s instead of size 3s. So they're probably going to slap on rhinos on there. So that's kind of interesting that they're trying to revive the Gladiator. We'll have to see how that plays out. It's going to be pretty interesting in the meta. Then we have the Anvil Hurricane. So it's getting 2 size 1 power plants compared to just a size 2 power plant. So I guess you could say it's getting nerfed. Sad. I really like the Hurricane. I think it has you know, an argument against the Scorpius of being the better 2-man fighter, but that is the Hurricane. Next we have the Anvil Valkyrie. So the Anvil Valkyrie is getting 4 size 2 shield generators, so that's getting a buff compared to just the current 2. And then the remote wing turrets now have 1 size 4 weapons, and currently they're size 3s. So I guess they're bringing the Valkyrie up to date. So that is our dropship. Next we have the Argo MPUV. So the Argo MPUV is getting, I guess you could say, a slight nerf, but it's getting just 1 size 0 power plant instead of 2. So I guess you're just reducing the components there. And then we have the Argo Mole. So the Argo Mole is getting 1 size 3 shield generators instead of 2 size 2 shield generators. So you could say it's getting buffed. And then the Argo Raft is getting 3 size 2 shield generators instead of 2 size 2s. I like that they're, you know, buffing up the career profession ships, because yeah, I think they should get a little more love, you know. They're hardworking middle class citizens bringing all the goods, so seems like they're buffing all the industrial ships. Next we have the Consolidated Outland Mustang, and that is getting a size 1 shield generator instead of 2, so that's getting a nerf. Now we have the Crusader Starlifter. So the C2 and M2 are getting a buff. They're getting 2 size 3 power plants compared to 1. So that's good for our Hercules. Getting some love there. Next we have the A2, so the bomber. It is getting 3 size 3 shield generators. Okay, compared to just 2. so it's getting a buff. And you know what's funny? I'm hearing that the A2, like, there's a better argument to use an A2 instead of a hammerhead, because yeah, you could use the guns. You could use the guns and the chin turret, and it just does more than the hammerhead. The hammerhead's in a really bad place. I'm kind of surprised they didn't tune anything about the hammerhead, but yeah, that's the A2. Then we have the Star Runner. So the Star Runner is getting a size 3 shield generator instead of 2 size 2 shield generators, so we're getting a buff for the Star Runner. It's good. Our data running and cargo hauling ship, medium sized. And then next we have the Caterpillar. So the Caterpillar is getting 3 size 3 shield generators instead of 2, so that is getting a buff. Like I said, they're buffing all of the industrial ships. And then now we have the Drake Buccaneer, and that is getting a size 1 shield generator instead of 2, so that is getting a slight nerf. Kind of sad, but it is what it is. Then we have the Drake Vulture. So the Drake Vulture is getting 3 size 1 shields instead of 2, so that's getting a buff. Good on the Vulture. Now we have the Spirit Prowler. So the Spirit Prowler, and this is interesting because it has the Sukarin components, and man, I remember those back in the day. You'd slap those on the Vanguard, and it would have slow recharge rate, but just so much health pool because it was a Sukarin alien component. But instead of 2, we're now getting 4 on the Prowler, so it is getting a buff. Our dropships are getting buffed, which makes sense because they're carrying troops. Next we have the Misc Freelancer. So the Freelancer is getting, I guess it has all of the same components. So we still have 2 size 2 power plants. I think the only thing that's changed on the Freelancer is the man turrets. So instead of size 2 guns, we're getting size 3s. So that's our Freelancers, and that's for all Freelancers, by the way. Then we have the Misc Hull. So we're getting a size 2 shield generator instead of 2 size 1s. So we're getting a buff on the Hull A. So the Misc Hull C is getting 2 size 3 power plants instead of 1. And we're getting 4 size 3 shield generators instead of 2. So that is getting a pretty massive buff. Looking good for the Hull C. And now we have the Misc Prospector. So that's getting 3 size 1 shield generators instead of just 1. So we got a buff for the Prospector. And then our Misc Starfarer, all of them are getting 3 size 3 shield generators instead of 1 size 3. So that is a buff for our Starfarers. Then we have our Origin Racer, and I guess that's largely the same. I don't know why they would mention that, but it's looking the same for the 350R. And then here's one that's near and dear to my heart, the 400i. So this is getting a massive nerf. The 400i only is getting 1 size 2 power plant and 1 size 2 cooler, compared to 3 size 2 power plants and 3 size 2 coolers. I mean, I don't know about this change. I don't even know what the 400i is meant for anymore. Like, it's just, why would I use the 400i when I could use the Zeus? You know, like, it's just, they completely nerfed it to the ground, and like, even before that, they nerfed the top speed. So I just don't even know what it's even used for anymore. It just, they really nerfed it to the ground, and it's just sad to see the 400i in this state. But yeah, just, I don't know, man. It's not looking good for the 400i. So the Origin 85X is getting 2 2 size 2 remotes. So that is, or sorry, that's the whole C there. Whoops. So 2 size 2 remote weapons. That is getting, I guess you could say, a buff instead of 2 size 1s. Then we have our Origin M50, the Interceptor, and that is getting just 1 size 1 shield generator instead of 2, so that is a nerf. And then lastly, our Connies. So the man turrets now all have size 3s, so that's a buff. So yeah, big loadout changes. I mean, let's just see the reactions on Spectrum. You know, you got 244 people with a thumbs up, 186 vomiting, 186 with a thumbs down, 118 with Picard Palm, and 93 with Clown, and 74 people with hard eyes. So yep, that's our changes. I think the drastic change for me that affects me the most is the 400i. And you could say the Redeemer as well, but it's not in game yet, but these are the plan changes upcoming. So guys, that's our upcoming vehicle and vehicle loadout changes that are coming into Star Citizen. My name is Xander. Thanks very much for checking out the video, guys, and I hope I kept you up to date, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.